In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, He whom has decreed and He who decides whatever He wills without consulting any. He who gives us life. May everlasting praise and glory be to He who has given us livelihood and has created creation to be subservient to the children of Adam and Eve, the children of the righteous, pious, righteous doers, those who consider and understand the definition of commitment, the definition of that in which reinforces the religious commitment. We praise and glorify by the 99 attributes in which He has enabled humanity to know, of His names known as the beautified, and by such divine understanding, practice and application, sovereignty is given to those whom He promises in the Quran. May they even be ones who claim Muslim as known today. May they simply be one who urges truth, the entire truth, nothing save the truth. And may they be a party who encourage justice, fairness, love, prosperity for all. Must they be those who are sincere in every circumstance, and must they be those who encourage that in which is good, forbid that in which is evil. May they strive in the way as those whom He has mentioned and has accepted and specified His gratitude upon their service to Him. May we be among those who got the lesson as they did, and from their predecessors before them and their predecessors before them. It is very doubtful, it is very unassuring, it is quite confusing that we actually have developments that are making headline news today. When we think considerably and we take very close note and pay attention to the details, we find that this is a political matter all around it. It is unfortunate that a world superpower, from a political standpoint, will be put to not only humiliation, will in fact be subdued, because those who do not understand warfare And many of our fellow citizens of the United States of America do not really understand warfare. This is where IDF trained, yeah? You know, I don't think the Civil War taught the white supremacy anything, because they believe actually that they have won economically. You know, these iblises, you know, these actions and activities of greed and hypocrisy. Yeah, you know, we faced in the dungeons so many a times. You know, and hard to, you know, Lieutenant Commander Artillery fired so many in the early stages of 2021. And now you really believe and you really think that it's, you know, it's possible that, you know, and they're written very well, you know, so many of the People's Republic of the Shahada have seen and have witnessed, you know, the combat that we've put up in 2021 with the Iblisi forces. And the fact of the matter is that these developments making headline is a big embarrassment for, you know, those who refuse, you know, to concede to peaceful means. You know, this is the reality. You know, you had a pause in Israel. You know, again, it's interesting because the fact is that I am Israel, you know, I am Israel. With the 12 children, they were my children. I'm Jacob. But now I actually have to say, ever since October 7th, you know, Israel, you all are taking it way too out of board. That's the truth. And since you did not want to get out of Gaza, now you're facing 7 fronts. You know, if you keep this up, you're going to be facing clearly, and then in the midst of all this, you attack Iran out of all. I mean, it's just like you picking the fight in the middle of a war. And you know, I see Operation Iron Swords is not as Operation Iron Swords no more because of that elite force. Your elite force practically has been made completely incapable. And then we start to see even the younger boys, you know, in their 20s, their early 20s, losing their lives in this thing. And the political problem is Benji, you know, BBNJ, that PM Prime Minister, that's the guy. Because, you know, the longer the war stays on, you know, the more reason he will have not to go through his, you know, fraudulent prosecutions. And it's like picking, you know, practically saying that, okay, I'm at war here, but I'm gonna start another fight over there, you know, so that I can stay in power. And it's completely unacceptable from all practical standpoints. You know, American politicians who need to retire need to hurry up and show a better example to the world. Turn this government thing, because I mean, these senators are like 200 years in practice or something like that. You know, they've inherited it from some, you know, uncle or father, and they've been in it for 80 years. I mean, you know, our it's something in which, I mean, let's say Benjamin Netanyahu gets everything that he wants. He gets eradication, elimination, complete annihilation of Hamas. They don't ever really say the Ha properly, the Israelis, and then some of them try to say the Ha instead of the actual letter. But let's move on. First of all, you need to learn how to say the word of your opposition. You don't know enough about your opposition, and the first problem is you cannot properly say Hamas, right? You have to say Hamas or Hamas, and you're trying so hard. So you need to get that straight first. And then you can talk about the tunnels and how they're popping left and right and ambush by distance. I actually had to, you know, claim a definition of how the tanks in the so-called secured areas, which should have been secured a month and a half ago. I mean, ambushed by distance and shooting through. I mean, shooting your sharpshooters. They're emerging through the rubble. So your sharpshooters cannot actually see, through the rubble, unfortunately, necessarily. And the way that they're actually merging through it, it's like you have to rebomb the place that your folks are not too far away from. So it's not an easy task, and that's a problem in itself. But the fact of the matter is, you really can't say how many of your opposition or your enemy has gotten out the way, or you have completely neutralized. And if you do manage to get rid of all 60, 70,000 fighters, and you've gotten rid of 7, maybe 8,000, um, and they've been replaced in a very short period of time. Yeah. There's been a lot of birthdays. And they've been busy with recruitment, international news. So, what makes you believe that you're going to be able to de-radicalize a population who have seen and witnessed you do this to their lands, their brethren, their family members, their community? This is something in which and so the military analysts who are saying that in the long run this is going to be a strategic defeat is because of the fact you are already facing 7 different fronts. You couldn't really face the naval front on your own, okay? But the other problem is that economically, you're finally beginning to see the cost in Tel Aviv. And the problem is that if you do not pull out and the escalation on the north takes similar to Gaza, then you certainly have less than 90 days to actually withdraw all of your forces from Gaza. Less than 90 days. Because the problem is that politically, the United States is able to abstain no more vetoes, because we already told United States no more vetoes. The abstain is the best that we can do, from United States, and even that is closing up. So the entire world at this time is observing you cause more mischief with, the revolutionary Iranian guards. And you assassinated, you understand, one who was closer. And when that happened, you remember the response, or you don't remember the response. There was a response upon, the American bases back then. And now here you are again, and there are already attacks on American bases. You do not think by any means that you not mentioning that you want those hostages out alive, not even one time. Go through all of these spokespeople and how they're discussing. They did not lie to the Israeli people, no. They just did not tell them the entire truth. We will get everyone out. You did not say we will get everyone out alive. You did not say we will get everyone out home safe. No, you did not say that. We would get everyone out. Every last one of them stopped there. They stopped short. And so, you don't have the intention of getting, and of course, in the last statement of BB&J, basically saying to the effect that, eliminate the Hamas capacity and capability, and, de-radicalize the Palestinian population. The population in the West Bank, Hamas is not in the West Bank, so you have plans for everybody. And this is an issue because you have to understand that we don't want this imperialism, this is a hypocritical standpoint, because a number of people dislike Jewish faith and practices, so you can say that they are anti-Semitic, but they are very close friends to the state of, the flag, the blue and white star flag. But the point of the matter is that if it's really a Jewish state, then how can there be so close allies with those who are anti-Semitic, those who dislike, the Jewish religion, Jewish practices, Jewish beliefs? And also, how is it that the evangelicals can be called upon to support this state and how it is, claiming that they are democracy, they believe in democracy, when there are no, are they, can you actually see all faiths being able to operate there? Because that's what a democracy is. If it cannot be a democracy and also purely a religious state. So that means that apartheid exists. So because the apartheid exists, the separation, and as we can see, the laying of the siege, deprivation, and using, and it's always something with IDF and these diseases that they come up with. First, it was this, visual and diarrhea, now they got the fungus going on. It's unbelievable. And it's a sign clearly that they're away. This is reminiscent to Vietnam and Napoleon in Moscow. And those who don't know Napoleon in Moscow, more troops died of, diseases than actual, battle in the campaign. And then so many missing, because IDF